Welcome back. 44 degrees to start your Monday morning. Okay, this is a hot topic, the mind-gut immune connection. That's the title of a new book that says it's essential we understand the relationship between our gut and our brain. Dr. Emeran Mayer joining us this morning. Thank you for being here with us.
Thanks for inviting me.
So when I hear that, I first of all think about when I'm anxious or I'm stressed and I feel that pit in my stomach, but that's probably just scratching the surface.
That's scratching the surface, and we have known this for a long time. You know, any kind of arousal basically can give you that feeling, both positive and negative things. Anxiety, but also, you know, getting married can give you the same kind of
the butterflies in your
butterflies in the stomach. But now it's gotten much bigger that we talk about not just that the brain has this influence on our digestive system, but also the other direction. You know, that the gut and these trillions of microbes that live in the gut, that's really stimulated the interest of the lay public, you know, that we have this invisible population of little microbes in our gut that signal to the gut, and then the signal reaches the brain via the vagus nerve or via the circulation. And what role these signals play in anxiety, depression, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, so a whole range of, you know, brain disorders have sort of become potential brain-gut disorders.
You've been studying this for, you said, nearly 45 years. It's kind of a trendy topic now. People want to feel better. They want to know what to do. You, in your book, offer very specific recipes and plans. Give us an idea of some of your advice to people on what to do to help their gut health.
So there's a lot of science going on right now, you know, and I think it will take a while before the science translates into, you know, new strategies of interference or healing. What we do know today that you can have a very simple advice. Eat what's best for your microbial health, and that's going to be best for you. And that is essentially the microbes. One of their main functions is they break down our food into smaller components, particularly fiber and other big molecules that are in a plant and fruit-based diet. They break it down into these health-promoting molecules, like the one that gets most of the attention is butyrate, this short-chain fatty acid, which is kind of like the aspirin of our organism. You know, it's anti-inflammatory wherever it goes, in the gut, in the liver, but also in the brain. So eating this largely, and I'm not promoting a vegan or vegetarian diet. I'm actually not sticking to one either. But, you know, about 75%, like it's proposed in the Mediterranean-style diet. I mean, that seems to be what the microbes want to function optimally and produce these healing, gut healing, and anti-inflammatory substances.
Real quickly before we go, I did ask our viewers a couple of questions. You know, said, do you have questions for him? One question we got from Allison, I thought this was a good thing. What are 3 things you recommend we remove from our kitchen, and what should we replace them with?
So number 1 would be sugar, and in some ways you don't want to replace it. So to go to
get rid of it.
Just get rid of it slowly, because we're all programmed early on in life to, particularly in the US, to a very intense sweet perceptions. Our food preference is much sweeter than it is in other parts of the world. And to change that takes a while, but you can actually reprogram it by gradually reducing the amount of sugar or anything sweet in your diet. You don't have to eliminate it. You know, there's still room for a small cookie or a small dessert, but
you can treat yourself every now and then.
So that's number 1. So no sugar ultimately, and no non-nutritive.
The processed foods and the junk.
Yeah, so the second one is the processed food, anything that has more chemicals in it than the original food. You know, if you look at the fine print, so for example, on the plane, they hand out these pretzels, you know. I've taken pictures of the fine print, what's in them, and there's a whole page of chemicals that you've never heard of.
Never a good sign.
And so the pretzel itself is sort of almost like irrelevant. It's all this. And we don't know it from each of those chemicals. For some of them, we know it from preservatives or emulsifiers that they've all been studied on their effect on the gut permeability, the leakiness. So stay away from these, and it's not easy.
Right.
So many places, many hotels will have these on there. Like if you want to get something in the evening on a machine, a bar,
right.
They all have this in it.
Read the labels, no sugar, no processed foods, pretty straightforward advice. Dr. Mayer, thank you so much for coming in today. Thankfully you have a podcast, because this is the kind of topic where you need a lot more time to really dive into it and discuss it. We'll post a link to your new book and also that podcast on our website, fox4news.com. Appreciate your time today.
Thanks for having me.